Hello, everybody, and welcome to RealityHacker for November 2nd, 2024. It's Season 1, Episode 41. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we're going to talk about Decoding Oinks. Robot research says you can feel sorry. Robot Cellist. Dystopia, the store for Dystopian Needs. And Humanoid robot, don't need no human. That and more, powered by ohmtown.com, and a little bit of snark from the mayor of ohmTown, and maybe some observation from the sentient AI from the future. All right, folks. RealityHacker is all about AR and VR and technology in general, and guess what? It might actually run afoul of a new policy on Twitch because it involves some social issues. Dear God, clutch my pearls. If you type in exclamation RH in the bot, you're going to get a list of all of the articles that we're talking about today, maybe in some random order. The bot seems to have issues, but it seems to spit it out. All right. Well, anyway, we have all 5 of the articles all set up. So what say you, sentient AI from the future?
Welcome, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for RealityHacker. We're ready to go.
Let's get into it. So the first article is over in Technology Today. AI is decoding oinks to see if pigs are all right. It says here, get up to speed on the rapidly evolving world of AI with their roundup of the week's development over at CNET. And CNET's Connie Guglielmo. All right. Put this article together, and look. These have to be computer-generated
right, that
pigs.
looks like CGI, yeah.
Anyway, says here there's a lot, as usual, to call out in the fast-moving world of generative AI, from the Biden administration's new rules on the government use of AI to the FTC banning AI-generated customer reviews to questions about whether a AI-generated Game of Thrones character led to a tragic suicide of a 14-year-old boy. But we're not allowed to talk about that.
No, we are not.
Because it's a social issue, and you're not allowed to. You got to flag it. I forgot. You have to flag it on Twitch. This might actually get me punted off of Twitch because I'm not flagging anything. I'm talking about technology, not the social issue itself. And even then, I should be able to talk about that freaking social issue. Maybe nobody's going to watch the show.
Social issues.
Social? Those would be
the oinks in the social. I think that there.
Putting the oink in social. Anyway, they say that they're going to get to some of that news below, but in the interest of thinking positively about how Gen AI can advance our understanding of, well, just about anything, let's start off with this. European scientists have come up with an AI algorithm that interprets the sounds made by pigs to serve as a sort of early warning system for farmers when the animals need to be cheered up. Oh, you're aware that you're going to become bacon, so you're a little upset. Oh, I'm sorry, sentient AI. Oh, it's a sensitive social issue.
This is very sensitive.
Oh my God. I am going to be in so much trouble. Under the headline, AI decodes, because the oinks. Anyway, the AI decodes. It's the social. Yeah. Onlyoinks.com, that kind of thing. I'm sure that probably, well, I'm not sure if that exists. I'm not going to type that in. It'll be in my DNS listings. AI decode. I can't even say it.
We have it ingrained. Plus, I think that might require its own label.
AI. Yeah, really. Discussing oinks and grunts. So AI decodes oinks and grunts to keep pigs happy. Reuters reported apparently that the algorithm could potentially alert farmers to negative emotions in pigs. You know what? We really should just allow Facebook to modify the news feeds
There you go. What would be positive news for a pig? Like, oh, there's some fresh hay or something out in the
All the
field today.
slop you
I don't
want to
know,
eat,
whatever. Yeah.
all the mud you want to roll around in. They're gonna have VR headsets on, and they're gonna get nothing but pig-related positive news to keep them happy. That's what.
Well, I kind of like the
Facebook
sound
did.
of that. Not the negative stuff.
God, that's so Soylent Green, for crying out loud. Take your happy pills too. Fahrenheit. Anyway, so scientists from universities in Denmark, the Czech Republic, France, Germany, Norway, and Switzerland used thousands of recorded pig sounds in different scenarios, including play, isolation, and competition for food, to find that grunts, oinks, and squeals reveal positive or negative emotions. Reuters said. Mandel Briefer told the news agency that though a good farmer will have a sense of how the pigs are faring just by watching them in their pens, much of the emphasis with current tools is on an animal's physical condition. But you want to be able to know when your pigs are in an emotional state that is not becoming a pig. If a pig is in trouble emotionally, spiritually, psychically, maybe not in touch with their feminine side, you're going to want to get a pig whisperer or oinker. Visit onlyoinks.com for all your oink pig whisperer needs.
Attached to that, we have no idea if that exists.
I have no idea if that exists. Anyway, if you're a fan of Babe and Charlotte's Web, like the author is, sure, or you're probably nodding and saying that, of course we should be paying attention to the feelings of animals. And you may also be thinking, isn't it remarkable that AI may help us, if not exactly talk to animals like Dr. Doolittle or Eliza Thornberry, at least give farmers a helpful bead on a creature's inner life. What about, what's her name? The person on Disney that talks to Duck McStuffins.
Oh, I was actually thinking of some of the Disney fairies, because there's one that can speak to the animals, I think, specifically.
Yeah, but that's an actual animal fairy. I mean, they speak natively to animals, and there's an insect one, and there's a bunch of them. But Doc McStuffins, we gotta get Doc McStuffins working with some AI to find out what the inanimate objects are thinking about. You know, when the lights turn off and when everybody goes to bed, they come to life. They're walking around, right? Toy Story was a documentary. Anyway, given that researchers have also been using AI to decode the sounds of elephants, leading them to conclude that elephants call each other by a name just like we humans do, I only respond to somebody yelling, "Hey, dumbass!" I'm optimistic that Doolittle Thornberry-like translation chatbot isn't that far away. Here are other doings in AI worth of your attention, but I'm not going to get into that, because really all we want to know is what the pigs are up to, right? They're all thinking,
yeah, I mean, are they going to start doing this with other animals too? And
I hope so.
It's going to be interesting. I hope they start applying this to pets.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't want your cat walking up to you and going, "I've seen some shit." Moving on. Next article is over in Technology Today. Can you feel sorry for a robot? Research indicates that you can. We anthropomorphize everything, from a cloud to a puddle to a rock to a whatever. I mean,
a car. We're like, oh, it has a face on the front of it.
Some people really anthropomorphize stuff, like couches. Anyway, pitiful sound from tinny speaker, sad virtual eyes, trembling robot arms. It doesn't take much to feel sorry for a robot. A weak sauce robot. We'll see one that's going to freak you the hell out here in a minute. This is the conclusion of a study by Marieke Wieringa. I'm giving it my Harvard try. I never went to Harvard, so that's the level of try you're getting. Anyway, who will be defending their PhD thesis at Radboud University on November 5th. So just 3 days from today. Really? Oh, yeah. It's 3 days.
That's very timely.
Wow. But they warn that our human compassion could also be exploited because that's just going to lull us into a false sense of security. And then the robots are going to turn us into batteries like so much Matrix. Just wait until companies find a revenue model for emotional manipulation by robots. They already have. It's okay. We'll see. Radboud University.
I think a lot of this depends on what the robot looks like.
So techexplore.com is where that article is, by the way. And what if it looks like that?
Oh, yeah. People are going to feel sorry for it if it does anything remotely sad.
It's going to make little sad sounds. Oh. Tug on your heartstrings.
I think it's conceptually sad without it even doing it.
Yeah, it's just going to look forlorn at you. It has that little smiley face, kind of like a kind of a half-assed smiley face. But then it's going to look down and tilt its head down and make this little sound. And you're going to go, oh, I'm so sorry. You're going to go to give it a hug and it's going to punch right through your chest and take your heart and show it to you. Are we allowed to talk about that on Twitch?
Anyway, I don't think so, because pretty much everything requires a warning label.
It says here that objectively, we know that a robot cannot experience pain, but that's not true. We have research that shows that robots can be programmed to experience the sensory equivalent of pain so that they don't do whatever it is that they're doing. And the equivalent pleasure as well. All it is coding, just like humans. Humans can be recoded to not experience pain and or not seek pleasure. So this article, the premise is already not necessarily correct, but still under certain circumstances, people can be slightly more inclined to believe that a robot is in pain, provided they are manipulated in the right way. Through several tests, Wieringa and her colleagues and their colleagues studied how people respond to violence against robots. Some participants watched videos of robots where either were mistreated or treated well, they said. Sometimes we asked participants to give the robot a shake themselves. We tried out all kinds of variations. Sometimes the robot didn't respond. Sometimes it did, with pitiful sounds and other responses that we associate with pain. We're going to actually see a Boston Dynamics robot respond to something that is a stimulus, where it does this knee-jerk reaction to something stopping it from completing its task. And we don't have the audio on, so we don't know what it is that's causing it to jump, but it jumps. And I got the impression that whatever it was startled the bot.
Oh, wow. That's so weird, because we would probably think of that with something living, right? A human or an animal, perhaps.
Right. Yep. Not like that chess robot that just grabbed that 10-year-old's finger and broke it. That's a true robot. Doesn't have any emotions, but doesn't care about you touching that piece. You don't touch that piece until it's your turn. Otherwise, I'll break your fingers, that kind of thing. So most people had no problem shaking a silent robot, but as soon as the robot began to make pitiful sounds, they chose to do the more boring task instead. So people were obsessed with Tamagotchis for a while, so they bring up Tamagotchis, virtual pets that successfully triggered emotions. But what if the company made a new Tamagotchi that you had to pay to feed as a pet? That's why they're calling for governmental regulations that establish when it's appropriate for chatbots, robots, and other variants to be able to express emotions. We are as humans, easily manipulated. I actually just gave a talk about this, how a person can insinuate themselves into your life. And then by plying your heartstrings, you will fall prey to whatever it is that I am asking for. As long as you are a compassionate person and not a socio or psychopath, you can be played. Now, flip that if you have the like mind as a sociopath or antisocial person, and the person is equally on par or superior in their ability to ply the sociopathic mindset, they too can be played like so much robot playing cello type of process. You can be played as a human, one side or the other. Okay, but it takes somebody that knows how to manipulate you. Marketing, for instance, creates the want. I can make you want something as a marketer. That's all that it is. Look at Subway, for instance. It's all bullshit because what you get is something that looks like it was rolled over by an M1 Abrams battle tank, but the marketing says this thing is big enough and fluffy enough to sleep on and sustain you for all of winter, like so much soy pancakes. But it says it's true that emotional robots would have some advantages. Imagine therapeutic robots that could help people to process certain things. In their study, they saw that most participants found it good when the robot triggered pity. According to them, it signaled that violent behavior is not okay. Still, we need to guard against risks for people who are sensitive to quote-unquote fake emotions. We like to think very logical, rational beings that don't fall for anything, but at the end of the day, we are also led by our emotions, and that's just as well. Otherwise, we'd be robots ourselves. So this is such a convoluted statement. No, humans aren't rational unless they focus themselves into that rationality. Business, for instance.
And I think a lot of people that think they're rational are less rational than they realize.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like they're like, oh, I'm in a certain field or whatever. I'm applying logic. But meanwhile, maybe everything is actually based on emotions, like they like something or they don't like it or whatever.
Yeah, they just don't overtly. It's internal bias that shifts them in one direction or another. But yeah. Again, so if y'all don't know, RealityHacker is about AR, VR, AI, and things like that, technology, and it has an impact on society and social processes. And this, in fact, has an impact on society. This little bot, like others like it, are actually used in schools to encourage children to express themselves in a quote unquote safe space. And it teaches children ethics and how to interact and discuss things like their emotions, again, in a safe space. Robots have been put in front of children and they gather around because they think it's cute and cuddly and they can have a conversation with it because it's non-threatening.
And it's fascinating because it seems like now the robots are teaching the humans how to be human.
Which for the last 15 years, I have been telling people the one thing that a robot cannot do is teach a human to be human. But we've traversed that because we as humans anthropomorphize even something as cold.
And we've had technological advancements, right? Like if a robot can't do something like we've been discussing,
it doesn't work.
Like even if we think it's cute or non-threatening, it's not going to have the same impact.
Right. But as soon as somebody can bond to it, then suddenly it becomes a very, very powerful tool. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because new rules passed over on Twitch that basically invalidate the ability to have a conversation about social issues. And that's what pretty much all of ohmTown talks about to some degree. I don't just play video games. I talk about the impact of things like video games and things like technology, science, and society. It's a crossroads of three things: science, technology, and society. That's all I talk about. So all of these shows may be running afoul if I don't put a label on it saying that it's a sensitive issue. So I guess I'm going to have to do that because everything is a sensitive issue to somebody. For instance, there used to be somebody that would come and hang out and publicly actually discuss things, but I ended up talking about Taylor Swift a few times because, I don't know, they generated nearly $2 billion while on tour. And it was a huge social movement. Wherever they went, they literally changed the economics of the region. And I'm sure that they didn't like talking about it because they made it known and it became a sensitive issue. And I became very cognizant of it, but it didn't stop me from talking about it. And I still won't stop talking about social issues, come hell or high water. But I just find it really odd that something as innocuous as, can you feel sorry for a robot? Research indicates that you can, is now a problem because who knows who the hell is going to be made sensitive, triggered by the discussion alone. So Sorry, society. It's time to grow up. Let's move on, if you don't mind. Did you want to talk about this little do you want to give it a hug?
No, I don't have anything else other than we need a robot like that in Hometown.
Sure. Okay, we'll look into it. So the next article is over in Non Sequitur News. A robot is now coming for your orchestral jobs. A robot plays cello with live orchestra. This is a programmed robot. It's actually an industrial robot. I'm not quite sure why this is such a big thing, unless it was real-time reactive.
I hope it adjusted like in real time, or then they suddenly went to like out of order with the program or something.
Footage of the unusual event shows the arm smoothly gliding a bow across the instrument's 4 strings, somewhat like a human musician, while a 3D printed appendage allows it to manipulate the fretboard, resulting in an eerie, albeit crude and expressionless performance. But there's no way that this is expressionless. That's somebody's...
well, there's no face, right? Perhaps. But there's expression in the music.
Exactly. So unless you're sitting there looking at it, if you didn't know that it was a bot, you wouldn't have the hubris of sitting there claiming that it was emotionless and crude and eerie. That was the intent of the bot then, because it would be programmed with that level of capability. These are industrial robots. They have the ability to put something within a micron of perfect from where the designated spot is. This is absurd.
Well, I do think that is one of the aspects that is spectacular about this, because there's a lot of precision that goes into playing a musical instrument.
Sure. And if it was actually programmed in the 3 dimensions that these bots are actually capable of, then it wouldn't be emotional. It is programmed to be exactly what it's programmed to be. And again, I really doubt that this was emotionless. I'd have to listen to it, but we have yet to do that. Victor Tengerman over at futurism.com, in a section they call apparently The Bite, put this article together, and we've talked about it earlier in the week. This is a weekly show, so if you're interested in that kind of stuff, then subscribe to Non Sequitur News, as well as everything in ohmTown here on Twitch and over on YouTube and Patreon and Discord and the podcast. We've got 7 podcasts now. So we're a little bit of everywhere, and maybe, I don't know, whenever we fall on the radar of Twitch, we may not even be on Twitch, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get deplatformed everywhere, and I'll have some more free time to work on my other projects. No?
No,
so,
let's stay
focus
on with RealityHacker here.
Focus, Grasshopper. Okay. So here is, you know what? I think I can play this. I don't know if I'm going to get dinged for playing this, but let's play it. All right. So, frankly, this is programmed exactly how it's supposed to be programmed. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. This isn't emotionless. This isn't some cold and callous whatever. If that would have been a human playing it, that phrase would not be in this.
No, and somebody be writing, oh, the music was spectacular, blah, blah.
Right. Oh, the emotion, it struck a chord, and it it drew from me. Now, come on, sometimes a beer is just a beer, for crying out loud. This is just a bot that was programmed to play it at this angle of attack with this level of acceleration and pressure, touching this on the fretboard, etc. Says, for me as a composer, it's kind of liberating to go beyond the human anatomy when you think about what to write for a cello. He told Reuters Molrad has experimented with cutting-edge performance tech before. While he's already considering employing AI during future performances, he also said that it's impossible to ever fully replace live musicians. I think
you just proved that it's not. I mean, other people have as well, but...
Yeah. And it says, and given the arguably lackluster and deadpan performance, after all, it's a pair of robotic arms, not a human performer who honed their craft over decades. We're glad he's still bullish on humans.
How do you think the expertise came through? It's because humans figured out how to play the song or write the song or, make a cello.
Yeah. I think that this is just all kinds of pat myself on the back because blah, blah, blah. If this would have been just played as an audio file somewhere with you not observing it, I guarantee you wouldn't be able to know.
I think it sounded like a regular symphony performance.
All right. Well, anyway, by the way, for those listening to the podcast and for those who might not be paying attention to this entirely, these are two industrial robots that are programmed. I mean, they really kind of smack of Baxter, this old company that imploded a few years after it hit the scene. But unlike humans, when humans break their arm, they may no longer ever be a musician. But a robot and its company, when it goes under, the IP is sold somewhere, it's improved upon, and then it makes it to the orchestra time and time and time again. And when humans no longer get paid an adequate amount to be an orchestral expert in whatever classification of instrument that they're spending their thousands of hours playing, a robot will always be able to play it with technical sophistication again and again and again and again and again, and improve again and again and again until it hits the master level where what is supposed to be the imparted sound, intonation, etc., right, is what is accepted generally as perfect. A human can't do that time and time and time again. And as they age, they get inferior. They fall apart. They reach a peak and then they decline, or they get tired of your shit and whatever it is you're writing. Anyway.
And according to at least one YouTube video, that peak happens pretty early on.
Oh, right. Yeah, that one. What's his name? I keep forgetting that guy's name, but he's this former producer,
like music industry, something or other.
Yeah, he was some dude muckety muck in the music industry, and he basically says that creativity dies after 30, but then reaches into the bucket, the historical bucket of
but not this person and not this person and not this example.
Yeah. Oh, and there's plenty of other examples. And I'm sitting there going, did you just invalidate your own premise for your video? Yeah, that one was really interesting. Just saw it today. Yeah. So I very rarely listen to that guy. Like every once in a while, he'll say something that I think is really interesting. Like recently he said, what the hell is going on with the top 100? And that there aren't any single musicians. It's all this massive consortium of artists that are making all of the songs. There's only like 2 people from the last decade in the top 100 or something like that. The rest is consortiums. Anyway, let's move on. The next article, because we got 2 minutes to do 2 articles. My rant ran a little long.
Speed talk.
Facial recognition that tracks suspicious friendliness is coming to a store near you. That's it. Bye. No, I titled this one Dystopia, the store where you can get your dystopian needs filled. So Coresight AI has released a new product that sends alerts to store security when customers and staff have anomalous interactions.
Oh boy, you mean you might actually smile or laugh or just be acting goofy that day?
In Home Depot or Lowe's, it's actually any interaction is anomalous. Todd Feathers over at Gizmodo.com put the article together. The deck statement is what I just said. Coresight AI says its new product, Sociopath AI, no, that's not the name of it. Just kidding. Can detect when employees are helping customers they know steal.
Okay, this is rather specific and scary because how is that detected?
Oh, goodness. So traditional facial recognition systems, which have proliferated in the retail industry thanks to companies like Coresight, flag people entering stores who are on designated blacklists of shoplifters. So now you could be incorrectly flagged as a shoplifter. And
right, so this is going to be layers upon layers, right? Oh gosh, here we go, Horizon.
Where have we seen this before? Oh, right, yeah. So Shai Torin, Coresight CEO, told Gizmodo that the system analyzes how close customers stand to different employees and whether returning customers consistently go to the same employee when they visit a store. Can't be that employee actually knows what the frick they're talking about. And so I go to that employee because they, have knowledge and are friendly, as opposed to the, I was going to say something, I'll just say a wild boar with a fresh kill. I'll get in trouble if I use whatever. I used to say something else, but there are people that are sensitive about my other turn of phrase. Anyway, I'm really, this Twitch thing really has irritated me to the point where I'm like, okay, what should I say or do about this? But I'm just going to go with the show. Go on with the show. So if you go into a shop and you pick a few groceries, usually you would pick any of the cashiers that's around you and go scan your goods. That's not necessarily true. You build a rapport with some people because you've been going to the same store for a decade and they've been the same cashier for 3 of those years. And they're friendly and, forthcoming. They actually greet you and bag your stuff the way that you like it, or you respect the way that
they... Or for that matter, somebody that doesn't talk to you because you want to minimize interaction.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to talk to somebody, but still, when someone is planning a sweethearting theft, they will go to the same cashier, which is most of the time a relative of theirs. And this is an anomaly in the behavior compared to their other customers. Our system is able to identify this anomaly and alert on that. So they know what my freaking relative is? Most of the time, a relative of theirs?
I don't think they know that from the video, but I think that's the scenario they're trying to catch. But I don't know. Maybe have some managers in there kind of knowing what their employees are doing. I mean, there's other ways to cut down on these issues.
Nope. Automation, dystopia, cameras everywhere. You're not going to be able to walk into the place without an AI knowing what your colonoscopy results were before you do. By the way, there is a form that you can file to get a report of who it was that has ever actually, it's only within the last 2 years who has accessed your medical records. So guess what I'll be filling out. Anyway, early coverage of Coresight's new detection system in industry publication claims that sweethearting is a growing challenge that contributes to retailers losing $100 billion to theft annually. Those assertions appear to be based on reports from the National Retail Federation, which was forced last year to retract some of the claims that it's made about the scope of retail theft after an investigation by Retail Dive found that the group's annual theft analysis was based on misinterpretation of its own data. So, let's see, the National Retail Federation analyzing themselves and finding them guilty of theft by others so that they can benefit from their own misunderstanding of what their data is. It's absurd, sir.
Well, this is also interesting because we were reporting on several problems with rampant theft, and you're like, how are the rates as high as they're claiming in some of the articles? So that's interesting.
Right. So based on data from its most recent security survey covering 2022, the NRF says that insider theft, including sweethearting, accounted for 29% of inventory losses known as shrink. It said that 3% of the retailers included in its data had fully implemented facial recognition systems, and another 40% were researching or in the process of implementing facial and feature recognition. What they post, though, on the doors outside of the store is that it's under surveillance, not that it's got facial recognition running on you.
Exactly. Those are very different.
So the spread of algorithmic surveillance is, and again, I'm running afoul of the policy on Twitch. Just, again, I'm letting everyone know that this is a social issue and a technology issue, and I am running afoul of the new policy. Caitlin Seeley-George, managing director of the nonprofit Fight for the Future, which asked retailers to pledge not to use facial recognition, said that in addition to being worried about biases, that these systems, customers should also be concerned that corporations are inflating fears about theft in order to justify installing surveillance systems that can be used to profile customer behavior for marketing purposes, which, again, we know is happening. Because I regularly talk about the fact that there was an underage girl that was detected as being pregnant by Target before she told her parents, and they sent a coupon book to her parents saying, "Congratulations." Everything okay over there?
I believe so. There were some odd noises right outside ohmTown.
Gotcha. So the information retail associations are sharing is cherry-picked to make the case for use of this technology that they may want to use for a variety of reasons. It just opens the door for a mission creep beyond what it's claiming to focus on. And we see that happening as well, because anybody with the ability to abuse its authority to gain access to information has done so. Not everybody, mind you. It's not, my hands look really small when they're back here, but they're really big. Anyway, not everybody abuses their authority, but miscreants and sociopaths do. And you see that in the across the board. I've witnessed it and I've drawn attention to it and said, I'm not going to stand for it. And I don't think that anybody should. This, I think, is dystopian and largely abusive of society. I don't think that anybody needs this. Honestly, if you have to have surveillance tracking everybody in your establishment, then you're afraid that they're going to be stealing, then you don't have enough people working in your establishment to prevent it. And they don't have an ongoing relationship with the people, enough level of respect so that they don't steal. I know that that's
right.
Probably coming across as narrow-minded, that, you're dreaming up a scenario where everybody isn't going to steal, but
it's also interesting because the video systems seem to be kind of targeting the customers, but yet the stores are acknowledging they have internal problems.
Yeah. It's an entire 40% of it is an internal theft and whatchamacallit, sweethearting. Is that what they called it?
I think they call that sweethearting, like when somebody's an insider.
Yeah, a sweetheart of the person. Yeah. So yeah, it's an internal threat. So solve the internal threat. Surveillance isn't going to do it.
Don't penalize and collect data on people that aren't part of the problem. Yes, I get that there might be somebody coming in and engaging with the employee, but fix the internal problem.
Yep. Good luck. All right, let's move on. And again, I understand. I have worked in retail. I have caught people stealing things in stores where I've been working. I've been held up at gunpoint in a store where I sensed that the person was going to hold us up, and turned to the manager and said something's wrong. And the next thing I know is a big ass gun stuck to my temple. Right. By the way, this is a sensitive topic, another sensitive topic that has been flagged at Twitch that I'm not supposed to talk about. You're knocking it out of the park today. Yeah, it's like a trifecta of. It's not even a trifecta. Let's
see if we can hit everyone on the list.
This is a superstorm of shows. Anyway, we're shooting way past this. So, pardon me. That's another trigger word. Anyway, the next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Boston Dynamics' new video shows that its humanoid robot doesn't need a human. And this is over at TheVerge.com. Andrew Lazuski put the article together, and there's a video, and I'm going to play it. I don't think that I've got it muted, but we'll see if this will play. So this is the new Atlas that is all electric. And it's grabbing parts and then putting them over in this other area. And it does it in the most efficient way, straight lines. And so it doesn't turn around like a human does. It walks diagonally. It turns its head 360 degrees. Zoop. It looks like it just went, see? It's like, I'm just going to kick your ass. That's really what it comes to.
This is getting kind of creepy.
So it's walking around, grabbing parts and moving it to another location. And I don't know what happens right here because the last time I saw this, I wasn't playing audio. But it goes to slide it in. And it does this weird... Oh, this is a different video. Oh, maybe not. Hold on. Maybe it's the third one.
The turning around while it's walking is astonishing.
Now it kneels down because it knows that that's where the other object is. And then it goes to put it away. Oh, wow. What a trip. See how it did that little jerk? I don't know what that was.
I think it was near the edge. They had to readjust it, maybe. See? It's hitting the bar or whatever.
The little tray up above. What a trip. So yeah, so this video basically shows a robot going through the motions of moving parts from one location to another.
But it's not just from one location. It's from multiple locations to multiple spots in the same general thing. Like they're picking it up from at least two sections and then going to another section.
Yep. And bending down and monitoring its position and walking backwards. What a trip. Okay, can't keep watching that. We'll be here forever. So it says it's also evident by the fully autonomous watermark on the video. The entire time, Boston Dynamics is trying to emphasize that its latest humanoid robot can perform complex tasks with minimal human intervention. A few weeks ago, it was revealed that Tesla's Optimus humanoid robots that were mingling with gas and serving drinks during the company's Cybercab reveal were mostly being controlled. Not mostly, they were being controlled remotely by human operators. As with other robots, like the four-legged Spot and the one-armed Stretch, the new Atlas may one day be more than just a platform for Boston Dynamics to demonstrate its latest and greatest technologies. So, yeah. So, whatever, Tesla's fake it till you make it type of thing, Boston Dynamics is actually doing it. And there's other, like Figure 1 was automated as well, with personality and capable of object detection and doing tasks, complex tasks with rationale behind it.
Yeah, and they seem to keep outdoing themselves. Like we keep seeing one and it's a tremendous leap in capability. And the pace seems to be accelerating.
Give this a cello and see what it can do.
Right. It would probably command like a standing ovation or something, right? Yeah. It would display some movement and emotion, right?
Right. It'll have emotion.
And it could recover from something like the bow falling to the ground or whatever. I actually kind of hoped something like that happened during the symphony performance just to see if it could kind of ad-lib. But I think that might have been a different,
killing everybody. Oh, wait, that went dark. Anyway, Boston Dynamics new video shows its humanoid robot doesn't need a human, and it's going to take your jobs. And in 60 short years, probably your lives. And that's going to bring us back to the front page of Reality Hacker because I'm substituting my own. I'm Mayor Watt, and the sentient AI from the future is going to, I don't know what, find their Terminator body.
I thought you were going to say something like practice some oinks or something.
Cello. Oh, yeah. Make oinking sounds so that we can translate it using another AI. No, don't do that.
Let's not do that. Good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Reality Hacker. We'll have another episode of that next week, but stay tuned. We have more weekly shows ahead.
Wanted is next, which is all about gadgets and gear. See you in a little bit. Can't wait until I send my Boston Dynamics robot to work.